Live.
Hi everyone, how are you all doing? I'm Abhishek. I'm a co-founder and CEO at AppSmith, and I have with me Confidence, who I think most of you
Hello,
have probably
everyone.
seen before.
Yeah, yeah,
How
I'm
are you
pretty
doing,
sure of that.
Confidence? Yeah,
How are
for
you
sure.
all doing, by the way? Yeah, I can see Achin in the chat. Hello, Achin. How are you doing?
Hi Achin, how are you doing? Uh, I just met Achin 2 days ago, so that was quite fun. We
Oh,
spoke
that's
about
cool.
a lot of new ideas and uh, ways of working together. So really
Yeah,
excited to see you here.
that's cool. If you're joining in the live stream, please say hello on the chat. We would love to meet you. Okay, so maybe we can move on, and folks would say hello as time goes on.
Yeah. I think let's get started. We have a few things to talk about right today. Confidence.
Yes, and some really exciting things are coming up. Can't wait for us to share them with the community.
So let's get started. So we're going to talk about a few new features, and I'm also going to show you a design preview so that we can get feedback about it. So first, let me just find my presentation so that we can just cover all the topics here.
All right.
Oh my- I always have so many windows open.
Do you use Chrome? If you do, there's a way to create kind of like group tab grouping. I think that's a new feature Chrome released a couple of months back.
Yes, that's right. So I end up putting pitch.com on full screen, and then for some reason it doesn't always show up. So that's the problem, but that's okay. I think I believe I found it here. Oh, this is oh, yes, I found it.
All
Apologies there.
right, cool.
So welcome everyone. Excited to have you here. So we're going to talk about a few product updates, but before that, we want to celebrate something with you. We hit 10,000 GitHub stars. It's a really exciting milestone for us. We started AppSmith. Uh, we launched AppSmith about 1 year, 2 months ago, and I don't think we ever expected to get to 10,000 stars. Uh, we were hoping a few users would use us, but it's so exciting to see that so many of you have started using us and you spread the word about us. So that's been like really exciting. And we had such a fun time yesterday because I was meeting my co-founder Arpit after a very long time because he lives in a different city, and we were having lunch together, and that's when we hit 10,000 stars. And honestly, we were a bit teary eyed because it just didn't feel like we would get here, and it feels really exciting to be here. So that's been
Yeah,
amazing.
definitely. It does. Thank you so much to everyone who has been supporting the project and spreading the love. We appreciate all that you do.
Yeah, and it does feel like a little bit of pressure, right? Because now we definitely have to make the product much better and ensure that everything is going well. So it does feel a little bit of a pressure, but I'm excited. So that's really good.
Yeah,
Confidence.
it's more like it's more like 10,000 eyes watching us versus having 10,000 stars.
Yeah, exactly. Confidence. Do you remember when you had started with us? This was February, 8 months ago. Do you remember where we were at when we had started working together?
I'm going to say maybe 3 to 5K stars, if I
Uh,
can guess. Yeah, but was there about 3K stars?
Okay, let's look at a chart. I actually have a chart here. So that was a quiz question.
Oh, okay, okay, cool.
So I think when you joined us, we were at close to 1.3K stars actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah. So,
Wow.
uh,
So you actually played me.
yeah, yeah, I know. It and Yeah, it's it's grown quite steadily recently. So pretty happy about this, and we're hoping this love we continue to earn this. So
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's a good sign. This graph is showing us over time how our product is maturing. So it's a
yeah.
good way to see how well we're doing as also.
That is true. That is absolutely true. Because I remember in last year, end of 2020, our product wasn't very good. It had a lot of these same features. The features haven't changed that much. We've, of course, added a lot of widgets, we've added JS editor, but the core functionality was there, but it just wasn't stable. And that was something that took us a long time to get right. And I really believe this is the period, April, maybe like May, is when the product was actually stable and people could rely on it for running their entire business without running into a bug. And that was a very difficult period for us because we just had to work so hard to fix bugs and we weren't building new features during this period. So yeah, so you're right. Like this kind of shows that our product has become a lot more mature. Of course, there's a long way to go. Lots of bugs to fix, a lot of things to get right. But pretty happy with where we've gotten so far.
Yes, me too. And thanks, S, for congratulating us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's talk about features. That's what we do the calls for. I'm really excited to talk about a few of the features. I'm just going to spend a few minutes just going over them really quickly, and then I'm going to show you some of the more complicated features. First, we're starting off with something simple. We have a document viewer widget. So it's going to be really easy for you to embed documents inside AppSmith, PDFs, and then control how that PDF works. So this is something that was requested by the community. And I'm really happy that we managed to build this out very quickly and launch it for those users who wanted it. And we're going to be doing more things around documents. For example, ability to generate reports, ability to create documents uh, by adding, like dynamic elements so that you can generate invoices, any sort of contracts just by using AppSmith. This is something that we'll be working on sometime next year, but we're very focused. We're going to be very focused on introducing more things around documents because that's something I know a lot of users have been asking for, but we haven't managed to work on it. So I'm very happy that we managed to put out the first feature at least, which is the document viewer. Now let's talk about the next one. So next, we now have a UI for the super admin control panel. If you self-host AppSmith, this is when it's relevant to you. Now, when you self-host AppSmith, you need to do a bunch of things. Number one, you need to add an email service so that anybody who signs up for AppSmith can then get emails. Confidence, sorry, were you saying something?
No, 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 not at all.
Okay, cool. So I was saying, so this super admin control panel now has a UI, so you can very easily manage all of these through a UI. And I'm just going to demo this to you in a couple of minutes. So that's something I'm very excited about because otherwise you had to do it in the command line, and it used to be quite difficult for you to do it. So this is a welcome change right here.
Yeah, I can remember the ad hold days.
Remember the
I can remember the ad hold days. So you had to go
yes.
to the environment variable files, change those values one by one, stop your container first, and then do a restart so that the new keys you have entered in or the new variables you've entered in are taken up. So that was really hard, and I would really love to see this demo so that we can share it with everyone.
Right. Yeah, I remember, and people used to run into so many errors, and they used to be so annoying. uh, and I'm just happy that now there's a visual way of doing it. So this is this is quite cool.
Yes.
The next one is a fairly simple feature, but again, it's very necessary if you especially have a lot of AppSmith apps. Like we have a lot of internal apps built on AppSmith, and I know as people are using AppSmith more, the number of apps are just growing. So we've started ordering the AppSmith apps according to the last accessed time. Previously, the AppSmith apps used to be ordered alphabetically, which is okay when you had a few apps. But if you accessed an app, it should ideally just be at the top of the list. So that's the change that we've brought about. So it's not alphabetical anymore. And again, I'm just going to show this to you. But if you pay attention to this, we also show you the timestamps of who edited it last, just to give you a little more information about which app you should be clicking on and using. So the next one is about the select widgets. The select widgets had a lot of inconsistencies, and they just looked a little bit different because every one of these widgets ended up coming out at a different time. So some widgets were old and others were new, and they just didn't look consistent. So we've made this change, and now the widgets actually look a lot more consistent, and they all are similar sized. They all have exactly the same kind of experience and interaction, like the hover experience, or the experience of like closing a tag here, or the experience of like selecting a widget in case of selecting an option in case of a multi-select widget. So that we've given it a small little visual design facelift right here. And the final one, which I'm going to show you later, is we're working on improving our Entity Explorer. The Entity Explorer has become quite old. It hasn't really seen much of a update in the last year. So we've tried to give it a new update, and I have a design preview of it because we are just testing out this prototype before we go live with it. We've shared this prototype already on Discord today, and we'll also link to it and share it on this YouTube call so that you can access it. We would love any feedback that you have about this so that we can get this right. But before we go to this design preview, I'm going to actually show you the super admin control panel. So let me just go there. Okay, let's find it here. Okay, I found it right here. Okay, Conference, are you able to see my screen here?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, great. So this is a fresh new setup on my machine right here. And if you set it up, you can then go here and you'll see an option called admin settings. And you can click this to access a bunch of these settings. Now, mind you, these settings might be behind a feature flag for some of you because you are rolling it out slowly. So if you don't see, don't worry. It's probably going to go live next week for sure. But it's gone live this week for a lot of users already. So here in this setting, number one, you can change the instance name. You can update the super admin's email address so that you can control this instance uh, together. You can also add multiple email addresses right here. If there are multiple people who need to control this, you can just easily do that. And you can just add this by separating them with a comma, and then you can save and restart it. The other thing is this is where you can control telemetry data. So you can turn this on or turn this off, and all of these controls are right here. Then you can also control the authentication settings and Controlling who is allowed to sign up. Now, by default, AppSmith will let anybody sign up. They're not going to get access to your apps, but they can definitely sign up and access their own organization and create apps on the same AppSmith instance. But you can now control it right here. You can only allow invited users to sign up. You don't need to let everybody sign up, right? Now, all of these features already used to exist, but you might not have discovered it. But now you can actually use it right here. You can also set up your Google SSO so that you can use this to let your organization team members log in using their Google domain right here. You can have multiple domains for Google SSO. This is a question that we often get. So you can have multiple domains who can use the same instance. Same thing for GitHub sign up as well, which is probably not a very popular way of signing up unless you are only using this for dev tools. But nevertheless, we have this option right here. You can also configure your SMTP settings here. So you can then start inviting users who've signed up for AppSmith. Users can also request for a password reset. They can comment and leave messages for other users. So all of that requires you to configure email settings, and you can do this right here. Then a couple of other ones are setting up Google Maps API so that you can actually use Google Maps on your instance without seeing the watermark of Google. And here we have a advanced feature where you can actually access the MongoDB URI that is hosting all this data of this instance right here. So you might want to access the MongoDB for maybe like deleting users or maybe seeing some specific data. All those details are right here. So these are the admin settings. We'll keep adding more things right here.
I wanted to do a short demo to show how this can be used and to also highlight that if any of these changes are made, you actually do not need to stop your container and restart it. It's handled automatically by the platform. So can I quickly share my screen to show you that?
Yes, conference, go for it.
All right. All right, so right here I have my AppSmith instance, and I quickly want to configure authentication using Google. So to show you that I do not already have this set up, I am going to quickly sign out. And in the sign-in form, you see that I do not have any Google sign-in showing up on the form. So let's sign in. And we would go to set Google signing up. So I'm just going to go to the admin settings, go to authentication. And the only thing I need to do is just to grab my client ID and client secret from the Google Dev Console. So I have my client ID here. I would copy this, paste it here. And let's also go grab the client secret, paste this here. And the next thing I need to do is just save and restart. So there's a save and restart button. Oh, you can't see it because it's at the bottom. Maybe I need to rename this. But it's at the bottom of the screen and you would see a save and restart button. So I'm clicking on that button to save the changes we just made. And here, an automatic restart is being performed because I have actually changed one of the core settings for my self-hosted instance. So let us give this some time so that it takes the changes, saves it, restart the containers so that these changes can be applied to my particular instance here. And while this is restarting, oh, I had an error while restarting. All right, I was going to say while this is restarting, you can actually see a list of all the processes that are currently going on in your self-hosted instance by visiting this address. So whatever your domain is, and then you visit the spot 9001, you'll be able to see a supervisor dashboard that lists all the processes so that you can go check the logs. For example, if you want to perform a restart, you can easily perform a restart or stop a particular process. So these are all the processes running. We have the backend cron, the editor, the database, and some other services that help to handle maintenance on the application. So let's see. Let's see if this change was applied. I'm just going to try to sign out. All right. So you see right now that we have the Google sign in, and this actually works because I can go sign in with my Google account, or I already have that signed in. So that's why it was automatically detected. So that's how easy it is for you to make changes to your instance and have them applied. And one last note I want to mention here is that you now have the option to download the configuration for your instance. So you can easily click on the download button. It's just going to save every configuration you've made in your admin dashboard. And the reason why this is so powerful is because it makes it easy for you to migrate instances. For example, you wanted to test out apps on your local machine and you have configured it in such a way that you really love. You can download the configuration file, move it to a cloud server, and just have that set up with the same configuration you had on your local machine. So this is one way to easily migrate your instances. All right, so um, that was the quick demo I wanted to show.
Thanks, Confidence. So let's move to our Entity Explorer design preview, so that we can then uh, talk about that one right here. Okay, so this is a Figma prototype, and we're going to leave this in YouTube comments right in a few minutes. But this is something that I'm really excited about showing. So with this Entity Explorer, there are a couple of things that we've attempted to do. Number one, we've separated out pages from the widgets that they contain. So here you have page one, and you have page two, which has no widgets. So what this means is you're never going to see all the widgets that belong to multiple pages at a single go, because that list gets really long and very difficult for you to find what you need. So what we've done is we've created a separate section for pages, which will.
Sorry, Abhishek. Your screen wasn't up when you started presenting. So please, can you just quickly go over this one more time?
Oh, yeah,
Sorry
my
about
bad.
that.
My bad. So conference, I've also shared the Figma link with you.
All
Right.
right, I would put this in the chat so that everyone can also see these designs.
Thank you. Okay, so this is a small update that we are making to the Entity Explorer, and the goal behind this is to ensure you can easily find the widget or the query or the API, and of course the JS objects really easily at a glance. So we've separated out pages here, so you can only see things that belong to page one right here. And if you go to page two, this is empty because there's nothing here. So what this means is you're not going to see all the 100 widgets and dozen queries that you have written for your entire application at a single go, because that makes the list really long and very difficult to use. Instead, they're organized according to pages. So that's the first thing that we are trying to do here. The second thing that we've done here is that you can now choose. So if you click the plus button beside files, you can now choose what you want to do. Do you want to create a JS object? Do you want to create a blank API? Or do you want to create a query on a particular data source? Or do you want to connect to a new data source? So it's just a single button here, and then you just use your keyboard to go up or down and then choose what you need. The idea behind this is, again, to simplify the way that you create new files. We are calling this a file here, and making it really easy and discoverable. Uh, so this is one of the things that we are experimenting with. Would love to know what you think about this. Does this make sense? Does the word file make sense to you? Do you think this would actually be quicker, or would this be more confusing? Would love to know more about it. And the so the let's go back here. The other thing is you can now sort by name, or you can sort by type. So when you have a lot of files, you can basically choose the thing that you actually want to sort it by. The other things are mostly the same. This doesn't change that much. Creating a new data source, that flow stays the same. finding an active data source on which you can create a new query also stays the same. You can, of course, use this page, or you can use the plus button right here. So these are some of the updates that we are experimenting with, and we would love to know what is it that you think about this one. So feel free to leave your feedback either on YouTube chat or on our Discord, wherever you are.
All right. So it seems that we have some time for um, Q&A. So if you have any questions, please feel free to share them, and we will take a minute to answer your questions.
Conference, before we actually move to that, I actually have a small announcement to make. So, so I just want to talk about a mistake that we made at AppSmith recently, and I want to talk about it. Talk about that mistake that we made. Now, this matters to all of you who've self-hosted AppSmith between October to December 4th. In the month of October, we changed the way that you install AppSmith, and during that change, we basically did not respect the telemetry setting that you had for your instance. So basically, in AppSmith, you can opt in to give us telemetry. By default, it's turned off. You can opt in. And in the month of October, after we made the change, we had a small bug because of which it did not respect the telemetry setting. And so for a period of 2 months, we ended up collecting some of this telemetry information that we shouldn't have collected. And we've updated and pushed out a fix last week, and we've also published a note on our Discord announcing the mistake that happened and what did we do about it. So we actually have completely eliminated and deleted all that data that we collected, which we shouldn't have. So none of that data exists with us anymore. And also, that data did not have any individual's details. Like, we did not have email addresses or location or the apps that you're using. It was only aggregate telemetry data uh, that we collect. You can read our docs to see what telemetry data that we used to collect. But having said that, that was a mistake on our part, and we feel really bad that we did not respect your privacy, and there was this lapse on our end. This has taught us a big lesson. We now have the correct test cases to ensure that this doesn't happen again. And we're going to work hard over the next few months to ensure this sort of a privacy lapse doesn't happen again. We're also going through SOC2 certification and other sort of security measures so that it's no longer possible for us to collect this data and not realize it. So I really apologize for doing that, and I hope like that all of you can trust us again. And if you want to talk about this more and you want to find out more about what happened, please definitely write to me, or you can also read the Notion doc that we've shared about this. Thank you.
All right. So we have some questions coming in. I'm just going to highlight this on the screen. So the question says, any plans on creating widgets dynamically? For example, add a call to appsmith.new tabs argument, and that will create a new element. Do you want to take this, Abhishek?
Yes. So I think we are planning on introducing more ways of generating a widget or a widget structure dynamically. The first one that we are working on uh, is on the form widget. So we will make it easy for you to generate a form simply from a JSON config, and that's something that is being tested right now. And I'm expecting this to go live end of this month. So so that's the first thing. So I do believe we will be able to let you add a new tab so that you can create a new element. Rochester, did I answer your question well? If not, feel free to add a clarification because I might not have understood it that well. And about the JSON form that I was talking about, we uh, we're actually working on it. And if you're interested, you can take a look at the deploy preview that's linked to this one.
Yeah, he just confirmed that. Yeah, you did answer the question.
Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks, Rochester. So I'm just going to hunt the JSON form widget and share that with you so that you can actually try this out. Just please give me a second.
All right.
With
So
the
I was going to
yes,
say while you're checking for that, we have a new question by S, and I think I can pick this up. So you're asking, can we see at a glance where JS objects are used? Right now, no, but you can actually see on the widgets what data is coming in, probably coming from a JS object, and what data is going out. So I'm kind of thinking of how uh, this can be done, because for widgets we have today, you can actually click on a widget and then go to where it's being used. So I'm thinking that you are making a request for something similar. Probably from a function, you can see what variables, what widgets rather, or wherever on the application that particular function is being used. So this sounds like a good suggestion. Maybe we'll have a design conversation around this and see how it can be implemented.
so confidence. This is actually an update that we will introduce in the month of January, where you will be able to again see where a JS object is being used. This has already been worked on. I
Oh,
believe it's
cool.
designed, but it's not been built out yet.
Oh, cool.
But
Cool.
we'll use a similar design that we already use for showing the dependencies that you just spoke about.
Oh, cool. I had no idea. So thanks for asking this. Yes, now I have gotten to know about it as well.
Yeah. So I was talking about the JSON form builder widget. Now that one uh, is already ready here. So let me just leave this as a. I'm just leaving the link of the pull request here. So
Okay. Um,
oh sorry,
okay.
actually I'm going to share the deploy preview link rather. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So the JSON form widget is the first dynamic widget that we're actually working on, and after this, there's going to be a lot more dynamic widgets because the first one is always the hardest, and then after that, it hopefully gets easier.
I have the link to the deploy preview. Do you want me to share that with you?
I actually yes. Do you wanna share your screen and try that out?
Okay. Okay. Cool. So I'm just going to move this over here and try to share my screen. Okay. So let's go into this app and check it out. Oh, I actually I'm not sharing my screen. Oh, you can see my screen now.
Yes.
All right, so this is the JSON form widget. It is still in the works, so that's why it doesn't have a proper icon and it's called Form Builder for now. But it's definitely going to have some retouch on the widget spin before it goes out. So what you can do here is to kind of like pass a JSON that describes the kind of form you need to build out. So you give it the JSON data, and it automatically detects what kind of input is needed, and it builds that form out. So let me see if I can quickly get some JSON data here. I can just quickly type out something actually. So let's say we need a name field, and we also have an age field. So if you notice what happens right here, passing this data to the form builder widget actually generates inputs for each of the keys in the object. So you have the name, for example, and because I have given some default value here, it is able to tell that this field will be of a type text. So this is actually a text input right here. I can enter some text. But for the second field, this is an age field, and we have an age input here. Because the value passed in here is a number, the widget is able to correctly detect the type of data that is passed in, and a number input has been rendered here. So this will make it really easy to build dynamic forms. All you need to do is just pass a JSON describing the structure of the form you need, and the widget will take care of building that form out.
And Conference, if you click on the fields, there are a bunch of settings that are that are available, so you can actually control what kind of an input field that you want.
Yes, 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 yes. So I think I can share this link so that everyone can go take a look at this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just mind you, this is still in beta, and it's gonna it still has a lot of bugs. That's the reason it's not live yet, and neither has it been put behind a feature flag. But we would love any ideas of making this better, because this has been a long work in progress for us. So, Conference, we have another question about the JSON widget. Actually, that's also something we can quickly demo, because that is it's nearly live. We need to update the design of it, so that's actually something I'm just going to quickly demo.
Okay.
Let me find that. Yes. So currently the widget is meant to be a JSON editor, and so it has all the controls so that you can actually play around with the JSON body. And we'll also add a way for you to just display the JSON body without necessarily needing to uh, let the user edit it as well. Can you see
Right.
my screen here?
Yes, your screen is up.
Okay, great. So this is what the JSON editor widget looks like today. And so you basically have the JSON body right here. You can see the JSON string right here, and it'll just display it in a way that's easy to read. Is this the widget that you were looking for, by the way? I just assumed this is what you were asking for when you said JSON widget.
I hope so.
And you see this cool thing that if you type a color, it actually shows you a color right
Color
here.
picker. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So, oh, actually, this probably doesn't seem to be working right now. But yeah, when it launches, it'll definitely be in good shape. So this is something that's probably going to take us at least another month to get right, because there's a lot of visual design work that we need to do here.
Yeah, that happened to be the widgets being asked about.
Okay, great. So the gallery widget, as we don't have a clear timeline for the gallery widget, what we are planning to do is introduce a grid widget instead. This is not a data grid widget, but this is essentially, the grid that you use on the web, so that you can use it either as a list, or you can use it as a horizontal gallery. Uh, I, that's something that will go live. Now, actually thinking about it, you probably meant the grid, the gallery grid, when you said the gallery widget. So that's definitely under uh, on our roadmap. We'll be working on this next quarter. So keep an eye out for it. The list widget is also going to get a bunch of updates so that it's infinite scroll, and then we'll extend it to make it into the gallery widget.
Hello,
There's
hello, Sajink. We had someone just join in and he's saying hello.
hi Sagnik, how are you doing? Thanks.
All
So I'll
right.
just leave the JSON editor link in chat, and you can again just try this out.
Okay. Okay. So I am getting the link and JSON. Right. I have shared that.
Thanks.
Doesn't seem like we're getting more questions.
So, Conrad, before we end, I just want to show people how to find deploy previews for things that are in progress, so that it's very easy for folks to find a widget that's being worked on.
All right. All right. Let's do that.
Okay, let me pull up a PR here, and then I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so if you see my screen here, I'm on a pull request. Now, this is for the form builder widget. This pull request is linked to that. If you scroll to the very bottom, you're going to see this sort of like a control panel. I don't know what to call this, or rather like statuses of all the test cases and all our scanners that are running here. Now, if you scroll to the very bottom of this, you're going to notice Netlify AppSmith Editor C deploy preview. If you click on this link, details, you're going to be able to access the deploy preview. Now, for you to sign into a deploy preview, you will need to use a different account. And the common account that we often use is demo@appsmith.com as the login, and demo@appsmith as the password. So you can always use this account. This account is can access every single deploy preview, but of course you can also sign up and create a new account for this particular deploy preview, because your default AppSmith login credentials won't work on deploy previews. But this is the way by which you can actually check out all our deploy previews. If you go to any issues that have a pull request linked, you're actually going to be able to find a deploy preview. So let me find this. Let's find the JSON editor widget. Okay, so here we have the JSON editor widget. This is the issue, but if you scroll down, you're going to see, yeah, so here. So you have a pull request that is linked to this issue, and that's how you can click this and then scroll down to the bottom to find the Netlify deploy preview. And this is the way you can actually try out and test some of our early features which are not ready to go out yet.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
So, all right, this was cool. I think we ended up showing a lot of our work in progress. So that's exciting. Thank you so much for asking these questions. Okay, when we are adding a widget, is it possible to resize automatically because it's forcing us to go to the bottom? Yes, we are actually working on this as well, and again, we actually have a deploy preview even for this. So we uh, so maybe I can actually pull this up really quickly. So this is again something that's very much work in progress. This is a slightly complicated feature, but the idea is you will be able to move widgets around so that you can place a big widget.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Um,
loading the preview right here so that I can actually show this. Now, this is a feature that I honestly have been waiting for such a long time because it just is so difficult to add a table, which tends to be obviously very big once you've already created something, and that gets like really annoying. So I'm really happy that we're actually uh, very close to going live with this. Okay, so I have the deploy preview available right here. Let me share my screen. Okay, so if you can see my screen here, so I have a ready application that's already here, and let's say I need to place something maybe here between these two. So let's find the table widget. What I can do is when I drag it, you can actually see that this creates some place for it, and then it's easy to place it. Now with this particular one, I can also let's try to let's try to move this around a bit. Uh, there still seem to be a few bugs here. That's the reason it's not live yet. But okay, I think this is like our a little bit of a demo fail here, but uh, this is gonna work soon.
yeah, it's a really big feature, so
Yeah,
we can expect that it takes some time to get ready.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, but yeah, basically I'm able to place things in between, and I'm able to actually move things to the bottom, to the top, and do that. So we are not actually resizing a widget because that we thought might be a bit confusing, but we are moving these widgets around. So you can place something in between. So I can just move this here. So this is again something that we've been working on, and I'm not sure if it's going to go live by the end of this month, but we are getting really close. This does work for a lot of use cases, but we still need to tackle many corner cases like the one that I just showed. Maybe that's not a corner case, so we definitely need to get it right, but it's going to take us a little bit longer to actually get this right. Thanks, S. Nice to see that you also like this.
Aaron also likes it too.
Okay, nice. So actually talking about resizing, since you mentioned it, I have a different deploy preview which actually resizes. So let me show that as well. Today really is all about just deploy previews. It's so much fun. But let's take this one. Let's say this one is on the very edge, and I need to place this here. So what I can do is I can move this, and if you see this actually resizes. So this is a different deploy preview that we were testing, and this does have the resize. We are probably not going to go live with the resize one because it led to a lot of uh, unpredictable behavior. So right now we're going to go with the one which doesn't resize, but still gets the job done. So that's the one that I previously showed you. That's the one we'll actually go live with. But yeah, we did experiment with this as well. With this one, for example, it's really easy for you to place something even though there isn't enough space for it, because you can move this and resize it. But it does lead to a little bit of unexpected behavior which showed up in our testing, and uh, that's why we are not going with this one.
We have two more questions. Should we take them and then stop?
Yes, that sounds good. Let's take the next two questions.
All right. So we have a question from Nathan. He says, "Is there a feature planned for managing child-parent relationships in the widgets tree, like dragging a table out of a model, for example?"
Okay, got it. So right now, no, we don't have that plan. We are not trying to introduce drag and drop in the Entity Explorer. Uh, we might do it in the future, but as of today, it's not in our on our product roadmap. If you really want this feature, we would love it if you create an issue, or after this call, I'll go ahead and create an issue so that you can leave a comment. We would really love to know what's the purpose of this feature, because I think this is probably the first time that we are hearing about this feature, and I know it's a very common feature in any file explorer, so AppSmith is probably missing it. The reason we've not done it is because the AppSmith Explorer does a bunch of different things, and we weren't sure about introducing drag and drop, without affecting performance or some of these other things. So we'll definitely consider it, and thank you so much, Nathan, for asking about this. Uh, I'll create a GitHub issue after this call so that you can leave feedback about this issue. The last question. So, do we have responsive design uh, on our roadmap? Absolutely, yes. Responsive design is very much on the roadmap. We will start working on it sometime early next year, and that's going to, hopefully make building mobile apps or any sort of responsive apps really easily. So we haven't started working on it yet, but we will work on it, and this is something that's very much high on our product roadmap. Thanks. There's one more question here from S. We'll tackle that, and then I think we can go ahead and end the call. So S, the things that you're talking about, the guides so that you can arrange elements symmetrically. This is again something that's on our product roadmap, but I don't know when we'll get to it. To be honest, we had some early designs for it, but I believe we ended up never proceeding with it because it didn't seem that important at that point in time. But we'll definitely tackle it. Once we are done with some of the changes that we spoke about today. For example, mobile responsive is definitely higher on our list versus these guidelines. All right. So I think that's the last question.
Yep.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today and asking these questions. I'm excited to have shown you these deploy previews that we did not plan to show, uh, but but hopefully all of you can experience it very soon, and you all enjoy this.
Yes, and we are going to see all of you next week. We'll be having a live demo with Zano for configuring custom authentication. So we want all of you to be there so that you see that as well.
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting, a very exciting demo. A lot of our users already use Xano to create a database on the go, uh, especially because AppSmith obviously doesn't ship with a database. So Xano is really easy to get started with. And they also come with these cool authentication features that we'll be talking about.
Yes, yes. All
All right,
right.
then. I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see all of you next week.
All right. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.